Jada Pinkett Smith just dropped a ton of truth surrounding her marriage to Will, so let's break down some of the highlights. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and these are the top 10 lies Jada Pinkett Smith just exposed about her marriage. Number 10, the 7-year separation. Kicking off the list is of course the cheating rumors and dating scandals that have followed this couple throughout their entire relationship. Since day one, people have been convinced that they're in an open relationship, or maybe that they've been cheating on each other on and off the entire time, but it turns out that those rumors were kinda true. Ahead of the release of her new book, Worthy, Jada sat down with People magazine to share some inside information. The most revealing was that herself and Will Smith have actually been separated for 7 years now. Despite appearing to be a happy couple on the outside, the truth was they decided to go their separate ways, emotionally speaking, a long time ago. Since 2016, Jada and Will have been living in the same house and appearing on red carpets together, but behind the scenes they actually just don't do anything together. Considering the massive size of Will's house, it's pretty easy to imagine Jada choosing her own section and just like decorating it to her liking. She continued to say that she felt pressured into being with Will in the first place because it was mostly his idea to get together. 2 kids and 1 marriage later, it would appear that Jada finally came to her senses and just decided to separate from Will entirely. Number 9, dating Chris Rock. Ahead of the release of her new book, Worthy, Jada has revealed a ton of information that were once thought to be just rumors. Now, while we've already covered the fact that she's been separated from Will for like 7 years, another fun piece of information was revealed. I don't know if fun's the right word to use, maybe unique. Anyway, it was revealed that before Chris Rock was struck across the face by Will Smith live at the Oscars, Chris had actually asked Jada Pinkett Smith out on a date. Now, I'm sure that when you hear that, you must think, oh, he asked her out before they even met. Nope, that actually took place in 2016 at the height of the first round of separation rumors, which again turned out to just be so true. At the time, Chris either had some inside information or maybe his belief, or he just believes everything he's read online. According to Jada, Chris reached out to see if he could, get her attention. He called and said that he would love to take her out, which she was like, why? He clarified and told Jada that he was under the impression that herself and Will were getting a divorce. Like, right, that's what he just heard. Well, when she revealed that this wasn't the case, Chris was so embarrassed and just started apologizing over and over. Though they eventually moved past the moment, it might explain why Will Smith was so aggressive with Rock at the Oscars. There's no way he's unaware of that situation. Number 8, divorce. Jada revealed that despite her and Will being separated for 7 years, that getting a legitimate divorce was out of the question. While they haven't been a proper couple for a very long time, Jada has always been adamant that she would never file the paperwork to properly separate from Will for good. Over the years, they have been at each other's side, and even after the secret separation, they were seen together as if nothing had happened. While they presented a united front, conversations later on the matter suggested that the two had actually spoken about it at one point or another. During Will's appearance on Jada's now cancelled show, Red Table Talk, the topic of divorce came up once again. Will said that he'd never get a divorce because it was something that he had already done and he tried to avoid it if possible. Jada laughed and said, yeah, that's not an option. But when she had Toni Braxton on as a guest, she claimed that she simply just wasn't mature enough to get divorced, which made it sound like that she was down to leave Will, but she just couldn't at that time. Well, considering the amount of media attention that this news is getting, something tells me she might be filing that paperwork sooner than we think. Number 7, interview evidence. When Jada revealed the truth about her separation from Will, she claimed that by the time they reached 2016, they had become exhausted with trying to make things work. The news of their separation was like a mild shock at best, because Super Sleuth fans claimed to have proof that Will and Jada had been separated. The proof was in the interviews. The first clip to be submitted as evidence was Will and Jada's Red Table Talk interaction, in which she admitted to the entanglement with musician August Alsina, but she simultaneously admitted to a brief separation between her and Will. In the conversation, she literally says that herself and Will had basically broken up, but instead of just outright admitting the information right then and there, she decided to hold on to it for a better time. Many Jada fans have commented on the resurfaced clip, saying that Will looks drained, clearly dealing with a ton mentally speaking. Jada is a calculated woman, why reveal all this juicy gossip so early in her life, right? She was probably ready to tell the world what happened as soon as it did, but held on to the information as a way to give her a boost in the future. Is it really a surprise that she's releasing all this information right when she's about to publish a book? Huh? Give them a scoop so they have to buy it and get more information. Good move, but a manipulative one at that. Number 6, that's what she said. As we all know by now, Will Smith doesn't like Chris Rock putting his wife's name in his mouth. After the altercation that took place at the Oscars in 2022, a ton of people were convinced that it was Jada who told Will Smith to do it. Will was laughing moments before taking the stage and doing his thing. According to Jada, she actually had zero part in that altercation and thought the entire thing was a skit right up until she saw Will walking back towards his seat. The fury in this man's eyes could not be faked. She revealed that she actually didn't mind the G.I. Jane joke all that much. Sure, she didn't appreciate it, but according to her, she in no way told Will Smith to go strike her Madagascar co-star. The first thing that she had apparently said to him when he sat down was simply, "Are you okay?" Something in Will snapped. He went up to accept his award for Best Actor and later apologized for his actions. Despite the apology, he was banned from attending the Oscars for 10 years, and so far, he has not spoken to Chris Rock face to face. Speaking of the Oscars, number 5, Oscars confusion. Now that all this information is being leaked into the world by Jada herself, there's been one major question still lingering on everybody's mind. If she hasn't been with Will for over 7 years, why did he feel that it was necessary to defend her and strike Chris Rock at the Oscars? Many fans have flooded social media with questions and concerns surrounding this incident. If you don't remember, in 2022, Chris Rock made fun of Jada being bald and Will smacked him for that. That's it. If he had been attending Chris Rock's stand-up special, who knows what would have happened, but I'm gonna talk about that in a couple minutes. Despite Will claiming that playing the role of King Richard had left him in this odd mental state, it really was no excuse for his outburst, especially if he had not been romantically involved with Jada in years. Main point being made by some is that despite Will and Jada separating, they remained close friends. In that instance, Will was defending his very good friend, which is still no excuse for causing Marty the zebra pain. Man, I love Madagascar. Will has claimed that he tried to reach out to Chris following the Oscars, but that he was told Chris just isn't ready to talk. Either that, or Chris was ready, but he knew he'd fly off the handle the moment that he heard Will's voice. Number 4, Jaden and Willow. Of course, rumors had been flying around for years that Willow and Jaden Smith basically raised themselves. Their upbringing was a little different. Jaden was on track to being an actor after starring in the 2008 remake of Karate Kid alongside Jackie Chan, the greatest man on earth, but later shifted his focus to a more entrepreneurial side of things, developing his own fashion brand, which he's actually been pretty successful in doing. And his sister Willow opted to stick with her creative roots and made quite the name for herself in the hip-hop world. Now, unfortunately, their behavior comes from a place of neglect. During an episode of Red Table Talk, Jaden confronted his parents, calling out their terrible parenting skills. With both being so busy in their careers and now we know separated, there was never anybody home to actually take care of them. Jaden and Willow recount spending most of their childhood with various nannies and teachers, only seeing their parents between projects or if they got dragged along to work with them. It turns out they were well aware of this whole separation thing going on from the very beginning. Will and Jada must have just been waiting until the kids were financially independent and out of the house to finally call it quits. Something that they probably just should have done a lot sooner. Number 3, the roasting of Will and Jada. Chris Rock delivered the first ever live stand-up special on Netflix this year. Chris Rock's Selective Outrage was a title made in reference to Will Smith. His special was filled with a lot of jokes, but he closed out the night with a little roast of Will and Jada. He started by saying that he had nothing to do with the slap and that Will had selective outrage. Chris didn't have any entanglement, so why was Will so mad at him? But he then repeatedly called Will Smith a B-word and then moved on to roast Jada. He said that he was shocked when she attempted to have him removed as the host of the Oscars back in 2016 during the whole Oscars So White controversy, begging the question, how can Jada boycott something that she wasn't even invited to? The roasts were devastating and Chris Rock is most certainly the winner in that battle. Now, this has nothing to do with Will and Jada's marriage. I just figured if you made it this far into the video, you could use a little chuckle. Number 2, Chris and Will were friends. Before the infamous 2022 altercation at the Oscars, Chris Rock and Will Smith had actually been on pretty good speaking terms. Now, they weren't best friends by any means, but they certainly weren't mortal enemies prepared to strike each other down at the mention of one of their wives. They first met on the set of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in its heyday when Rock played two characters, an actor named Maurice Perry and his sister Jasmine. They bumped into each other over the years, but Chris eventually starred alongside Jada in an animated series that I've been referencing called Madagascar. Fun fact, I didn't even know that she was in that movie growing up because I did not read the credits. I was too cool for that jazz. Between Madagascar 1 and the Oscars in 2022, things just were neutral neutral, there was no bad juju, but then suddenly at the behest of his wife Jada, he felt it was necessary to stand up and defend her even though they weren't even together. So what's that about? And at number 1, PR stunt. As previously mentioned, it's no surprise that Jada has shared her juicy gossip only days before her new book is set to hit shelves, but many speculate that her entire life is just one big PR stunt. Over the years, she has been in the media for a lot of things, whether it's boycotting the Oscars, getting fired from her own talk show, or just the general nonsense that comes from this lady. She's a force in Hollywood and not a good one. This latest stunt is nothing more than a PR tactic and a way to continue her media presence. She just revealed some of the secrets in her book. When the thing actually comes out, who knows what else there will be in store. You probably will, once we do. Until then, thank you for stopping beyond the screen. Drop a like if you enjoyed the content to show your support, and we will see you next time.